Alright. Join me right now. Back on the show is undefeated Openweight Lethwei World Champion Dave, the Nomad Leduc. What's going on, Dave?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Always a pleasure. Now let's go back to the end of last year. You defended your
Yes.
golden belt against Tun
Yeah.
Tun Min. Where would you rank that performance?
Well, yeah, we didn't speak since that I was in the tour, and then yeah, I was going there. So basically, we had 2 weeks to train. For those of that followed a bit, I just fought in August, and I won, and then I was going on a tour in Europe and Iceland, Spain, Turkey, all across the world, and then basically Tun Tun Min, who was coming back from his injury that he got from fighting me in 2016. From he basically said, okay, you got to draw with Sayak. He's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to challenge Dave again. I'm like, yeah, I knew it was coming. Like I told you before, I knew it was coming in the back of my mind, and but I just didn't know when. And yeah, and then he basically because it's very politics in Myanmar. Like you have to be approved by the Myanmar Traditional Boxing Federation. So then he said, okay, I want to challenge him, and then as the champ, you have in Lethwei, you have to accept the challenge. And then I said, guys, I'm in the middle of a tour, making good money. Like I want to train a decent training camp for this. It's going to be the biggest fight in Lethwei ever. So say, yeah, you're fighting in December, or we have to strip you. I'm like, well, I didn't honestly. I just wanted to be champ when I was younger, and now I've done it. I don't need 25 belts to be happy. I have 3 belts. I'm good. Um, and But this thing, it was more of an ego thing. I'm like, I have to fight him, otherwise I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life. It has to happen before I retire. And so I'm like, you know what, let's go. And came back to Dubai after the tour. I got an injury before the fight. Like when I went to Dubai, I was supposed to start right away, and couldn't walk for a week. So basically, trained 2 weeks for the fight. Good training. I got a friend of mine from Norway came to train with me. Coach Mari really gave me a good solid week, 2 weeks, and then the fight happened. And yeah, so basically, it's very yeah. They even sent me a letter, like a really stamped letter, official Myanmar government, saying that if I don't go there, they're basically going to make a fight with Tun Tun Min and somebody else to be the new openweight champion. Like there's no, I worked too hard for this. There's no fucking way they're gonna take that one away that easily, right? So that we defended 6 or 7 times. So there's too much hard work and sweat and blood behind this. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna retire when I want, and I'm gonna give the belt when I want. And basically, the big trash talk. It's not like in America, the big trash talk was basically, he said, well, I don't think Dave has enough power to knock me out with his hands. You don't have enough power in your punch. And then when I replied to Myanmar Times, I said, well, I don't care. I don't need my hands. I just need my elbows. And that's what happened actually. So I backed up my words. Yeah. As what it was, where
You
does it rank? Basically, it was well, for media perspective and sponsorship perspective, and purse, everything. It was the biggest fight in Lethwei history, and all the news were crazy about it. It was live on national television. Basically, pretty much the whole country was on a standstill for that fight, because it was supposed to be his big comeback. Like, no joke. The country is very Buddhist, very Muslim as well, and he's Muslim, and basically it was a bit of a religious clash in a way. He's like, they it was all him behind him. Me and my religion is love. I just love everybody. It doesn't matter. And but then if there's a first time, it was the first time that the whole stadium was pretty much like, if you watch the live stream, it was like Tun Tun Min, Tun Tun Min. So it was, to be honest, it was a very hard um, like one moment for me to realize, okay, it's me and my Sifu in the crowd right now. Like, that's it. It's me and my Sifu. And no, I remember watching in when I was waiting for him in the ropes. I always wait in the ropes, and I see one of his fans look at me right in my eyes, and he's like, "Dun dun man!" Like, and I really, for the first time, I really saw myself, like, maybe I get dropped, maybe I get knocked out, maybe something happens, because he's gonna swim for the fence, and he's a fucking tank. So I was ready for it, and I just shook it. I shook that bad thought, and You know, I just focused on my elbow connecting on the temple. I visualized, and then it came back. The confidence really was there when the ring bell, the bell rang, and but it really was the most important fight of my life. And I know it's a long comment, but the reason is because when we fought in 2016, John, you know, I was a beginner, like a beginner, so not beginner, but I had 10 fights, and they lied on my record saying that I had 40 fights because it didn't look good. It didn't look good if that guy with 10 fights wins against the Lethwei legend, right? Well, that's the main thing I want to show, that I had to adapt very fast. Like I said, adapt in life, adapt or die. And in only 7 or 9 fights, I had to adapt to his level of 60 KOs and 60 fights in Lethwei, 3 generation of Lethwei fighters. I was like, you know what, it's not going to be the same Dave. To be honest, the first fight, if people want to watch it, it was the first 3 rounds or the first 2 rounds. He dropped me. Like, it was hard, and I had to show resilience for this. And then I came back to the end of the fight. I knocked him down and everything. So it was a hard fight. And if you look at the other one, he's 26. I'm 27. We're like really both ready. He trained months for that fucking fight. I trained 2 weeks. I'm very focused in business right now as well. But I really want to make sure I give him his money. I give him for his money. So I was there, and I fucking connected my first headbutt knockdown and my a big KO in the first round. So I know, and he knows now.
Yeah, like you said, Myanmar was at a standstill. The fight was incredible, but what's more incredible is that outside of Myanmar, there was so much attention, man. Like, people were watching from all over the world. It seemed like the feed was going everywhere. It was shared so much, even like on Twitter. Usually Twitter, there's not much Lethwei on there, but because of you've created this buzz for for this martial art. How do you feel about that, man? How far you have come with Lethwei?
Well, I told you before, the story is when we first won and everything. They were throwing bottles in the stadium because they're like, who's that foreigner beating our champ? And I tried to adapt. I genuinely care about the culture. Like, I wear my laundry. I'm going, by the way, Myanmar in 5 days for a month of shooting the documentary about Lethwei, and we're going to the villages and everything. I'm gonna wear. I'm just looking forward to wear my laundry, my Myanmar skirt. I call it. It's not a skirt, but it's the. I really genuinely care about them, and I think they felt that, and they really, they really adapted me. So for me to be like their ambassador, because I really feel that the sport of Lethwei is very tightly knit to the economy as well. Like Muay Thai, as much as Muay Thai grew, the economy and tourism of Thailand grew. So I really feel like the more Lethwei will grow, the more I'm going to be able to help indirectly the restaurators, the hotel owners, the small shop owners. I'm going to help the economy. So I really feel like, to be honest, happy, even though like they probably will never know, but I really feel happy that I'm going to be able to grow this sport. And it's cool. I'm happy to see how far it's been for only, I think, like less than 3 years, right? And it's crazy. Yeah, people didn't even know where the country was yet. Of course, they didn't know the sport, right? And they don't know where the country is, so they don't know the national sport. So now, we've come a long way.
Before we get into that documentary you're talking about, I wanted to talk about the beginning of this year. You've been extremely busy. You mentioned it a little bit in the beginning. You went on your Canadian Lethwei tour. You just got off of your USA Lethwei tour. What were some of the highlights of these 2 tours?
Good question. We did like I said, the world tour before the fight, then the fight, and then in January was the Canadian tour, which is where I'm born. So had a lot of people to meet, a lot of seminars to do, Montreal, a lot of places, and then we went to United States, 12 states in in less than 3 weeks. So you can make the math. That's like 17 planes in less than 3 weeks. So it was tiring. So I'm happy to be home, getting some home cooked food. I'm back in Canada right now. But the highlights, just to see that Lethwei is alive like that, John. Like, people know their Likamun. People know You know, all my Burmese opponents, they obviously know me because they paid good money to be for that seminar, right? So we had like, you know, full house in New York, in Los Angeles. We had 2 seminars in LA, and you know, Chicago. Great vibes in Denver, Texas. It was really cool to see that, you know. So and you know, very humbly, I'm happy that you know, they tell me at the end of the seminar, like, Dave, this is crazy. We really like that, and I really like the way you teach. So I'm happy that I'm able to transmit my passion, and for a small, you know, for a couple hours, I'm able to bring them to Myanmar, you know, in spirit. And I think a lot of them want to visit Myanmar now. The highlight as well was at the end in LA. One of my last seminar, I went to see Bas Rutten in his gym in California. So that was cool. We were supposed to only our agent talked. It was supposed to be only for like, you know, an hour, 30 minutes to talk. We ended up we finally did like 4 hours of talking about, you know, hours of fighting and his fights in Amsterdam. It was in Holland and everything. And then we did some pads. And he made me very happy when he said, Dave, you know, that's one of the strongest elbows I've felt. So, you know, you want to teach the class tonight. So I ended up teaching the class at night with him, which was not part of the plan. So we met the students, and then I basically left when it was dark. So we spent like 7 hours together, and yeah, I think he likes it because we do a lot of you know, crazy stuff, the headbutts, and very cool guy. He's a fighting icon, this guy, and I really respect him. And it was very cool to finally meet him. So that's the really the cherry on the cake, you know, for the seminar, for the tour. And yeah, I think that's it. And now we're back in minus 25 degrees Celsius, just before leaving to Myanmar. So we're going to the Myanmar in 3 days.
Yeah, you mentioned you're gonna go to Myanmar. You're gonna go back to the land of Lethwei. You're doing this documentary, and you're gonna spend, I think you said, a month out there just traveling and just getting deep into the roots. It must be incredible to like be able to do things like this. You know, did you ever think that you were gonna be creating these documentaries and stuff like that when you first started?
Well, like, it is cool, and you know, but it's even cooler to talk about it with you because it makes it, you know, it makes it alive, and we're able to share it. But yeah, I actually I guess in a way, in a certain way, I kind of knew because you know, you have to have a vision, right? So I and my wife was really always giving me that vision, stay true to your vision, because we've got offers, you know, for, you know, all the major promotion, you know, NFC, MMA in Asia, everywhere. Like, I need to stay focused to my thing, and I love, you know, fighting with no gloves, with headbutts, and that's my true passion. You know, I got an offer to go fight bare knuckle, you know, in Europe. No headbutts. It's not the same, right? And we'll see. So, but my point is, it's really cool. I guess I planned it, but now it's getting further than I thought. You know, like, we're gonna, like I said, that 1 month in Myanmar, it's gonna be really, for those of you know, like Mandalay, Bagan, Yangon, all these places. There's like remote locations, and I'm gonna be with Canal Plus. It's a French channel. I'm their sports ambassador, so we're gonna go there they're gonna fucking kill me for 1 month. I'm gonna shoot every day, and you know, go talk to my fellow Lethwei fighters, young and older, see how, you know, how they eat and how they do. I'm gonna show them some techniques to improve their game as well. And but it's gonna be I don't even know I'll have Wi-Fi. If I'll have Wi-Fi in some places. You know what I mean? It's gonna be crazy.
What is the purpose of this documentary? How did it all come together?
So basically, it's the show, because most people, I know this is going to be the first of its kind, like of pure Lethwei with like an English-speaking. You know, nobody has ever done that. So we're gonna base Canal Plus, and I've sat down and like, how can we promote the sport, not only in Myanmar but around the world? So this is gonna be. It was basically to promote the sport and to show the real deal. How does it really, you know, how does it happen? You can go in Yangon right now and go to a very classy gym, you know, $100 for the month US, and you can train, but it's not the same. So, you know, I want to show the real roots of Lethwei. So that's what it is, because we're in a moment right now that people want to know. Like, it's like, okay, we know, it's fucking cool. We know what it is. We've seen some videos. We watch the videos. We watch your fight, but you know, people always want to see who's the previous Lethwei legends, who's the other. I want to show them the history. It's very rich in history. It's about 2 to 3,000 years old, and it's hard to pinpoint where exactly, but so that's my job. It's my job.
Yeah, people don't know, like me, I'm not too educated on the history of Lethwei. You're the one who basically introduced me to the sport. I remember when I first met you in Thailand. A mutual friend introduced me to you, and he's like, "Hey, this is Dave. He's out there in Myanmar fighting Lethwei." And I was just like, "What is Lethwei?" And then we just talked for a second, and then I was like, "Okay, that sparked my interest." And you're doing that for everybody else, basically, around the world. And then I think this documentary is going to be huge. Is there any particular people you're going to go out there and talk to? You have people in mind?
I kind of asked that I don't want to know. I want to keep the real surprise, because I said I want to meet, we never met Lethwei Mashang. So people want to YouTube him. Lethwei Mashang is short guy, but he's a Lethwei legend, strong guy, a lot of KOs, and so he's in the Karen state, so very near Thailand, when there's a long strip falling down. So it's very far from Yangon, so we never had the chance to meet. And a couple places. I know I want to go to Bagan. There's people want to Google it too. Bagan, 10,000 temples, a beautiful place. It's majestic. That's how I got engaged with Irina, actually, where we got engaged on one of those temples in Bagan. So it's going to be cool to go back there. But I asked them, don't tell me too much, because I want to look cool for TV. I want to be genuinely surprised. Yeah.
You don't want it fake, like those reality shows where they're surprising somebody, but the camera's already inside the house. They don't know that someone's coming.
No, don't tell me anything. And I want to be I don't want to have to think for questions. I want it to be real questions, because I'm going to eat everything. I'm going to try everything. I'm going to train. I don't care, training in the mud. And you know me, I live in Dubai, but it's for my wife. I don't care the crazy. Give me some insects. I'll try it. I want to try everything. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool, and all the different training stuff. I was giving back in Yangon some mixture for my eyes, and I said, well, I didn't know. He said, yeah, put it in your eyes. So I put it in my eyes, and it starts burning. And whoa, shit, what is that? It's and I understood that it's basically if your eye's cut, the blood leaks in your eye, and the sweat in your eye burns, and it's simulation of you're in the 4th or 5th round. And I said, okay, what do we do now? He's like, well, now you hit pads. So you're basically going to hit pads like you're hurt. So that's because that's the main edge of Lethwei fighters. They have that that heart, because they've been secluded for hundreds of years because it was colonized by British. And those years, they'd have nothing. Nobody was coming in. And, Thailand was flourishing of tourists. So they have a bit more Dutch came, everybody came. So, but Myanmar, and still nowadays, most kickboxing champion, MMA champions, Muay Thai champion, they cross over to Myanmar. Even though they were secluded for so many years, they're still so fucking tough. And it takes a tank to knock them out. You really have to make sure you do it. So, especially with the injury timeout rule, right? The 2 KO rule and everything. So, they have heart, and my goal is to, with that heart, you cannot teach that. You cannot teach heart. My coach, Sifu Pat, always say, you cannot teach heart. You either have it or you don't. Some people will get a jab in the face and they have enough. But some people, they want it. They like it. So they're one of them. Very kind, very humble outside the ring. But they do Lethwei in the ring. So you can see the type of... and I really relate to that, because I try to be as kind and smiley outside of the ring. But, we're let's fight. And I like to fight. So I really relate to that culture, I think. I think I was born in Myanmar in my past life.
You mentioned your Sifu, right? Is his name Patrice Marcel?
Patrick Marcel, yeah.
He is I kind of researched him a little bit, and he is a direct lineage to Bruce Lee.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that mean anything for you?
Of course, yeah. Basically, he was taught by Sijo Patnaud, who is now with us anymore. Died a couple of years ago, and then with Sijo studied with James DeMiles, who was one of the initial students of Bruce Lee. So yeah, and then Jacques basically started in Canada, where I'm born, a derived form of Jeet Kune Do, and that's where I started. And I never did the traditional form. Sifu Pat is the really like is done, the MMA professional fights in MMA, and he's done the traditional Jeet Kune Do. But for me, he just applied it in my striking. He applied the form, the 5 ways of attack of Bruce Lee, the unpredictableness that he was preaching. So I really think it helped me in my give me an edge in my striking. I think because you can't be like everybody in the world, especially you can't be in the same box as everyone. People that try that in Lethwei, they go there in a certain style, and it doesn't work too much. So I'd like to believe that the knowledge that Sifu has given me and what he was giving to him has helped me, succeed in Lethwei. Yeah, definitely.
Now, you're spreading the knowledge. You went on the world tour. You went on the tour in North America. Your Lethwei Online Academy.
Yes.
What's the inspiration behind that?
Well, it's very business as well. I'm like, everything's going online. Is Uber, you call it Netflix, what else? Airbnb, everything's online. And for me, my lifestyle, I travel too much to have a physical academy. I'm not saying no for the future, especially I really think I'll have one in Myanmar 100% one day, a training center there. But right now in my life, I don't want a physical gym. And most of the fans of Lethwei, most of my students around the world are not in one location. They're everywhere around the world: Brazil, Europe, Canada, America, name it. So I really thought it was the smartest way to reach as many people as possible in one click, right? So I'm building it right now. I've been saying that it's not easy, but it's gonna be done very soon. And my goal is to do a retreat once a year for now in Myanmar, for those that part of the curriculum, part of the team, and to be able to now you train it at home. You train it. Let's say he's going to be subscribed, but he lives in LA, or he's going to be subscribed to Leduc Lethwei. It's going to be called Leduc Lethwei, and he's living in Czech Republic, for example. But then once a year, a limited amount of space, they'll be able to come to Myanmar. I'm already planning it. It's going to be fucking sexy. It's going to be nice. And they'll be able to come and really eat mohinga, which is the traditional food of Myanmar. Eat, the cow suey, the noodles, and really, train on the beaches of Myanmar. So I'm excited for that. And that's the inspiration. It's just, I know I want to reach more people as I can. And yeah, everything's online nowadays, right? So that's the future. Yeah.
You said you're gonna fight in August.
Yes, I told you.
You hung up the Lethwei belt. Was that your last fight last year?
So you said I hung up? What do you mean?
Hung up means like you're leaving it alone now.
I kept it.
Yeah, you're keeping it.
Yeah.
You're leaving it alone. You're not gonna delve into the Lethwei anymore. Are you branching out? Are you gonna challenge different types of fighters? What is going on in August?
I'm always very careful when I do some stuff on the online, because I don't think it's very cool to challenge. I don't like to challenge. I'm gonna say some pointers, and then if and like, for example, we said be careful if you come to Yangon, you have to warn me, or stuff like that. But I never like bluntly challenge, because I think a champion doesn't challenge; he gets challenged. So my manager gets a lot of like people manage other fighters that wants to fight. So we have to check who makes the most sense. Not I accept anyone, just what the most sense. Like, do you have a bigger record? Do you have enough of a big record? Do you have enough big wins or whatever to be able to do a title fight? What I was gonna say. So I think in August, actually, it's the annual World Championship. So I have to it's going to be for a title defense. So I'm always putting the belt on the line. I think I'm so near the end of, I don't think I have 10 years in front of me. I don't know, a few years maximum. So I just want to make every fight as cool as I can, as big as I can, because I'm not going to be young for the rest of my life. So let's fight big fights in Lethwei as much as we can. Yeah, good question. But yeah, definitely, I'm retiring with the belt. I don't care.
You got so much going on, man. You're one of the busiest guys that I interview because you said you're starting this online academy. You're doing these world tours, and then you gotta get ready to fight eventually soon. And
Yeah,
then now you're going to
and
Myanmar for one
I can't
month.
tell you, but we're going to Myanmar for 1 full month. And while we're there, I can't tell you anything, but we're in the last stage for one of the biggest shows in Canada, and we might have to come back to Canada to do a TV show. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. And then what else? And then we're probably gonna. I have to go back to Dubai and train for the fight in August and everything. But and the last thing is basically with talking with Bas, we might have something planned to actually make something on TV for Lethwei with him involved because he fucking loves Lethwei now. He loves it. So yeah, there's a lot of things in the thing. I think we have to keep busy. One life to live. Let's do things, and it makes life exciting. I'm gonna go see you in Korea. My wife says that she's like it's her dream country to go visit because there's all that beauty stuff and the makeup and everything. So as I have to show her Korea. So I don't know if you have a place to show me like I can stay and show me around. I'll meet you there soon this year.
Yeah, no doubt, man. You're always welcome, man.
All right.
You're representing, martial arts around the world. It's incredible. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, Dave, and good luck to you on your future endeavors.
Thank you, and I appreciate for the call. And we're gonna do one after my fight in August.